Alrighty. Alright. Hello, everybody. This is episode 29 of Shoot the Breeze, pretty much a chill time and a chill interview all around for you and me. I am your host, HeavyDivider, and alongside me here is he's a tremendous individual. Not only is he tremendous on hand, he knows the ways of narrating horror stories, as well as just basically being able to have a good chill time no matter where you be on hand. A nice individual on hand. My guest for the name is Maskino. You can easily find him on YouTube, but I call him Maskino for short. Welcome, buddy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem.
Yeah, I do narrations. I've done voice acting stuff and stuff like that before. Narration is just kind of like the thing of the recent past 2 years. Well, I take that back. I've done narrations before, just not strictly any certain ones. I used to do like per request or commissioned ones, but
no, I got you.
You know, most of them were really bad fan fictions, and you know, while I can't openly insult them because they paid me, they were really bad.
Yep. No, I got you.
I'm sorry.
No, I got you. They might have been trying to meme with you for the most part. So, let me ask you on hand for the most part, how the hell did we meet?
You know, that's a good question. I was actually thinking about that earlier. I was like, I'm trying to remember how, because there's a lot of times, I'm sure everyone's had this at least once, but where you go through your friends list and you're like, I don't know who any of you people are. But
I can give you one answer on hand how I met you.
I mean, I feel like it's through Zeshin was most likely how it happened.
Well, funny enough, I met you through Creepypasta, and I met Creepypasta through Cece. And basically, that's where the rap.
Really?
Yeah, that's how it started on hand. And understand, during that time on hand, basically, I was part of Cece's community while trying to do my own thing here and there, and I would go to hang out with him or so. And sometimes when I join on him on whatever kind of world he is, there's like these different people I have never met in my entirety of it. And one of the people I met he introduced me to Creepypasta. I've never met Creepypasta before. I had to look him up, and I'm gonna say kind of hard worker on hand for what he does and everything in general, like balance a lot of things out. And then after that or so, I decided, you know what, I'll go join on Creepypasta so I can get the chance to know him, and that's how I met you. A mysterious man in suit wearing a black mask with a red line right through it. And then basically I got a chance to know you, and then later on or so, I got a chance to see you again for Zeshin.
Yeah, I thought it was through Zeshin. Yeah. That seems to be how I meet most of my friends. So...
Yeah, in a weird...
Funny enough, Zeshin was like one of my first friends on here, but his name is always at the end of the friends list.
Yeah. Yeah, and... Yeah, like I mentioned this before on hand, how I met Zeshin was just for an RP, like when it first started on hand, and then afterwards, I didn't know he was well connected to where all the people that I knew from one person, he already knew from another side or so. So it's very interesting on hand. But yeah, that's how exactly we met.
VRChat's a small world.
It is. Very small world. Actually, it's like a weird thing. It's like we're all in the exact same neighborhood, but we don't even realize, we don't even go knocking on doors to find out. So
just kind of show up somewhere.
Yeah, show up somewhere on the street here and there. So
yeah. Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
I think that's it's weird because there's a lot of people that are, you know, live all around the world that are really good friends through VRChat. I think me and you were like only a couple 100 miles away technically in the States, but there's, you know, a really fast connections made between people that are pretty much spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
Which has just been really interesting to me. I always enjoy sort of social interactions between people in different cultures. Growing up, I didn't leave my area a lot, but as I grown up and I got to travel a lot more, it's a wild world out there, and it's always interesting to see how someone else does things, even as mundane as, you know, what's the street setup, how's traffic, how's public transportation, stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's just so vastly different from what you're used to, and I don't know, for me it's always fun to learn. It's like, oh, you do that? All right, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we all have like our normal jobs on hand. We also have basically great dreams and ambitions on what we want to do here and there, and we want to work hard for it. And what's great about it is the fact that you're always going to find somebody that's like you, except they're like in another country or like somewhere across the pond or somewhere. And just to be able to interact and talk to that person, no matter how far away it is always a magical thing. Like, it's one of those things, like, during that time, you didn't think that you could do that through Skype, or basically as evolved into Discord, or basically, as time goes by, to be able to connect, through multiple social medias on hand. Like, it's fascinating how quickly it can advance, where basically you could actually have a really good connection with somebody that quick, even if it's just through the internet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I believe humanity is uniquely similar pretty much throughout all cultures. And, living in the age of information, it's definitely easier to make connections with people. I remember sort of once social media and other sort of like ways of connecting was coming up, it was like, oh, this is really cool, but there was always that fear mongering of, oh, you better watch out, you never know who's on the other end of the screen.
Yeah, I know.
But I believe everyone now has at least the same basic common sense of, not so much of don't talk to strangers, but more so don't give out your information to strangers.
Yeah, don't give out your information to strangers. Like, it's okay, it's okay depending on who your closest friends are to let them know what your first name is, but never, like, until you're, like, really close on hand. Like, you consider them, like, brothers or sisters more than anything else. Never give out, like, where exactly you are or, know.
It's quickly becoming, instead of, don't get in this van, don't open that file.
Yeah.
Don't know who's driving it.
Don't click that link. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you my next question on it. It's your VRChat origins. What got you into this game, or what kind of, like, created that interest where basically you wanted to, explore this on your own or so?
A friend had told me about it. He had kind of gotten into it pretty hard and heavy for a bit, and I hopped on, and like instantly it was just a bunch of video game characters and people memeing and stuff, and yeah, of course I fell right in with that. So I've always enjoyed it. And this was before you got in Knuckles, but that came a little while later, and after that I was like, oh boy. I see the trend of this game now. There's always going to be some sort of funny joke avatar going around for a while.
Yeah, kind of a funny joke.
I didn't start out with VR either. I started on desktop, and I like to say that I didn't get my VR headset because of VRChat, but looking at the hours between this game and all the other ones, you can make that argument.
Yeah, you can make that argument on hand. I mean, after you've been like in it for like 6 months or a couple of months, or maybe even a year, it's like, yeah, I need to upgrade soon, because that way I can see what I'm missing out. I feel like I'm seeing like 50% of this game in desktop, not getting the full experience.
It's a game changer for sure. I kind of refuse to play desktop mode now, because it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's never the same by itself. Like it's mostly too. It's like it's most of the fact too that there are certain things that people can easily do in VR that you can get a chance to like interact with, like certain objects or anything, or basically feel like you're more a part of it by able to move your hands. When you're on desktop, it feels like you feel so limited that you can't even do too much to be able to be a part of that. And which sucks, because nowadays, like, if you're trying to get into like an RP, or basically trying to get into like say like certain events on hand or so, or basically like it could be like a normal drinking event or something like that, you kind of feel like you're missing out. Like, a part of you feels like you're missing out just because you can't show too much interaction on hand with people, just to show how expressive you are. So
yeah, there's different levels of I guess intimacy between being able to see the actions of who you're talking to versus just seeing a static avatar.
Yeah.
But again, I think a lot more of it comes also through personality. So I mean, there's a lot of desktop users that I'm sure would enjoy having VR, but I mean, they still come out and play in desktop mode, and still fantastic people to hang out with. So.
Definitely on hand. So, but over time, people do like get like a VR when they get a chance or so. It's just a matter of now back then or so, it was easy to get like an Oculus or an HTC Vive. Nowadays, it's kind of like it's expensive as hell to get. Like, your only options is basically like your only options at this point is like hoping that maybe there may be like a borrowed one you can use, or basically buying a brand new one that's like $1,000 right now. So
Yeah, well, I'll take that back. The Quest 2 is actually like 300 or 400, I think.
three or 400.
Which, I mean, I know it can be steep for some people, but that's not. I would say that's not terrible, especially compared to other things that are on the market right now. It's probably one of the more lower end, but still, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So.
I got you. There's also, I remember too. There's also a VR that HP's coming out with, or so their own version of a VR headset. And I got a chance to see that during the VCAP 5 while walking around. And basically, yeah, they're getting themselves into the virtual market as well. So, but
yeah, I'm really excited to see where virtual reality is going to go. Because it started off as just sort of like this rare peripheral that no one could get, and now seeing so many more people being able to get into it, and it's becoming more widely available and a lot better.
Yeah.
As well. I'm definitely excited to see where we're going. I mean, you know, you got the haptic suits and stuff like that. So I definitely like to see more immersive stuff that's commonly available.
Because just when you think it's more advanced now, where we are, imagine what it's going to be like within the next few years, maybe 5. We're basically just going to be blown out of our minds to find out what the hell we can actually do, like in a game like this, or basically like in any other game or so, where you can actually just feel like you're getting touched, or basically just feeling like, you know, just basically merging reality with virtual reality in general, where basically almost like your entire life's here.
Just off the stuff that I view, like going through YouTube and other articles, I predict at least in the next 5 years there's probably going to be some major advancements. I mean, nothing like the sort of deep dive technology of the sci-fi movies and TV shows, but definitely a lot more interactive and a lot more advanced than what's out there now. But I still think VR still also has a long way to go before it's I guess like fully immersive would probably be the best phrasing for it.
Yeah, fully immersed and basically in the hands of everybody else around the world or so. Because like right now it's it's still expensive, no matter where you are. So it's still expensive where it is, but once it kind of gets in the hand of everybody, then basically, yeah, it's going to slowly but surely become fully immersed over time.
Oh, for sure.
So, let me ask you about your hobbies on hand besides this game in general. I put down like a few things on hand, but one of the things I was kind of curious about is like anything besides like this game in general. Like, I don't know if you play any other games entirely or so.
It's kind of just mostly flavor of the month with me, depending on what I'm getting into. I mean, obviously last month was Cyberpunk when it came out and playing it, and now we're me and a bunch of other friends are playing GTA 5 online again. Gonna having a restart from that, but it's fun to go through with people, and especially now. Like I played it when the game first came out, and it was fun, but kind of once I beat the campaign, I was like, all right, I'm kind of done, because I didn't want to grind all that much. But now coming back to it. And with more friends as well, it's definitely a lot of fun. So it's nice to see all the new stuff that I can do too, because I felt like in the beginning it was very bare bones. It was just like a job, get money, get shot up by some 12-year-old who is running around on a supercar with a Uzi. So no,
I got you. I got you on hand.
You still get shot by a 12-year-old with an Uzi, but you know, at least now you have something to do in between those times.
Yeah, in between these times on hand, you get something. Yeah. Yeah, it's either that or basically getting messed around in races in general.
I gotta schedule my drug running between 12 and 12:30 because I have little Timmy's gonna come by and shoot at my storefront.
Yeah. Definitely wants that candy. That certain kind of candy on hand. But I was gonna ask too on hand, basically, in part of it or so, basically that being narrating and voice acting. What kind of got you into all that?
I've always narcissistically just really enjoyed the sound of my own voice, to be honest. I know it's weird because I don't know. I've always had that mentality. I always say, oh, you know, if you enjoy speaking so much, you must love hearing it. But it turns out, it seems like a lot of other narrators and voice actors are like, oh, I can't stand hearing my own voice. Oh, I can't watch anything I'm in because I just hate my own voice. Why? I don't. That just is completely alien to me. I don't understand that at all.
I believe it might be tone deaf.
It's a
It could
maybe.
be-
But yeah, like I said, that makes no sense to me.
Mhm.
But I've enjoyed it, and you know, I always enjoyed animation and stuff like that. Growing up, I really liked comic books, so it was always fun to kind of like read how I thought the character should sound and you know, kind of pseudo bring it to life like that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun doing that. And then of course when you've got the Saturday morning cartoons, there was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
yes.
He-Man, G.I. Joe, all that stuff. And then shortly thereafter, anime kind of started getting more popular here. I think Dragon Ball was probably like my introduction, really. Then of course you got other stuff like Pokemon, Sailor Moon, all that jazz that came on, and it just kind of kept growing. And I've always enjoyed, you know, just the act of bringing things to life. I never was a huge theater kid, but I you know, I did a few plays and stuff like that. Musically, I'm not inclined at all. I actually can't sing whatsoever. But when it came to acting, I always enjoyed it to a degree. You know, it's one of those things that I never saw myself doing as a career, but I just enjoy doing, you know, in free time.
I got you.
Yeah, so it's a real enjoyable creative outlet to get. And it's also really fun to be the vehicle that brings to life someone else's artwork. I think that's another thing that's really really great, is that sort of symbiotic relationship you have for both the actor and the writer who has laid out the groundwork for this, and you were sort of projecting all of this for the world to see. So
I got you. I will say too, like, when you find that good creative outlet on hand, like, it's always good to feel like it's one of those things where basically I always believe that everybody in the world has talent, no matter where it is or so. And it's just always good to have like that creative outlet to be able to project that talent, or be able to like explore a little deeper on hand and find out, you know, what more can you do with that certain talent. And being voice acting, artwork, video editing, or just like anything creative outlet wise that you could be able to use to be able to find out, you know, how, you know, what is, if as you go in or so, what time is it going to be on your side or so, for how much you will grow as a creator. So
yeah, yeah, there was a lot of times I always struggled to kind of find what I was good at. You know, I tried drawing, wasn't good at that. Just different little arts and crafts stuff, and I never was good at it. But I don't know, I was always very outgoing and personable, so doing school plays and stuff like that kind of really helped, which is really weird. I really ended up doing more sort of physical stuff. I you know, played sports and stuff like that, and I don't know, I never really hung out with like the sort of theater nerds or
the drama like
drama people. I did have some band geek friends, but I wasn't in band myself. So it was weird. It was I don't know. I honestly, now thinking about it, I probably could devote myself to learning an instrument, but back then I tried like a little bit, and I honestly didn't try my hardest. I was just like, okay, well, I can't do this, so I'm just gonna put it down forever.
No, trust me, I was like that too. Like, I couldn't play the recorder. The only song I could play was Hot Cross Buns. I couldn't even do Ode to Joy or anything.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I want to learn an instrument and be all cool and stuff. And then I tried learning an instrument, and I only learned how to play Smoke in the Water, like the first like 3 chords or whatever.
No.
And so after that, I was like, all right, well, I can't seem to grasp anything else when it comes to my lessons, so I'm just gonna sell this guitar and move on with my life.
Mission accomplished, sort of. What's the way?
I learned how to strum at least one time. There we go.
That is my satisfaction.
That purchase.
That's my satisfaction on him. But man,
I'd like to do that too. But
I mean, if you ever want to, or so, you can always go back to it. Like, trust me, it's not like even if time passes by or so, it doesn't mean you can't pick up a guitar. or be able to try to practice.
Yeah.
So anybody in the world can be able to pick up a guitar and just kind of like take your time to learn here and there. So it's the passion of time won't make you that go away.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah, as I get a little older, I'm seeing that. I used to was like, oh, I'm not immediately good at this, then what's the point of trying? You know, why don't I just stick what I'm good at? That makes sense to me. And that's pretty much all I've done. And you know, it's worked out, you know. But now looking at it, it's like, you know, maybe I shouldn't take the easy way out and actually try and devote myself to something. And, you know, now I understand, and, you know, don't shoot for the long goal immediately.
Yeah.
Set up short-term goals and make milestones first. So.
Yeah. Set up stepping stones of, you know, what you want to be able to leap towards next, because yeah, it's a matter of like building that sturdy staircase all the way up to where you want to go. Never that flimsy rocket where sure it'll shoot off, but basically sooner or later it's going to come down. Like it doesn't have a landing zone or anything. It's going to fall apart, come crashing down. So
yeah, can't always shoot for the Hail Mary.
Definitely. So let me ask you about the VRChat scene from your personal viewer. So what do you think of it as time kind of gone by or so, or basically as you kind of like whenever you get a chance to hop on or so and kind of seeing a lot of different things here and there?
To a degree, it reminds me a lot of the old internet, where there's just sort of this weird anonymity to it, because you see a lot of repeat avatars and stuff, but you also see a lot of unique ones if you go to public worlds. But most of all the time you see, you know, the usual sort of out there jokes, a little off the cuff, some of them a little too far, but you know, there's always a group of people that seem to come together and they'll make these jokes, or there's a group of people that are doing this thing, and in a way people are in their own cliques, but they're still together in a weird way. Yeah. Sometimes conversations bleed into one another, and sometimes they stay completely isolated on their own, but you know, you're never really out of earshot of it, so it's a weird sort of way like that. And a lot of times, like, you know, I haven't done it in a while since I've been on in a while, but just going to public worlds and just hopping into conversations, and you might not ever friend this person, but you know, you've talked to someone with similar interests, you've gone on for an hour and a half about X, Y, and Z, and made, you know, some cool observations between one another, and then conversation ends, you move on, never see each other again, but you know, still had a decent moment with someone who's passionate about the same thing, and life carries on. But there's also an element of sort of inclusivity due to the fact that, again, not just about anyone can really come up and join the conversation. And not to mention, I've never had the issue, but I know there's other people that had the social anxiety of, I really enjoy this thing, I enjoy what they're talking about, I want to go talk to them, but I don't want to put myself out there. And so obviously being in this avatar, you're in a comfortable environment, you're in your home, you're probably in your pajamas, or if you're like me, not pajamas, then you can just walk up and talk to someone about these things, or you can just comment or whatever. And no one, you know, it's a really weird way of being able to leave your comfort zone without actually leaving your comfort zone. Which is again, I never needed that, but I can really see that it really helps people kind of come out of their shell. And I really think that's a good thing. I think there's a lot of times that people have put themselves down or just kept to themselves and not gone out of the way, and probably have missed out on a lot of things that they would have really enjoyed in life. And that's kind of sad to me, but you know, everyone moves at their own rates.
And the thing about it is too, is based on like usually when you see like a group of people like talking in there or so, you might not know a single person there or so, and it's kind of hard. And I know the reason why, and I'll explain, but it's mostly based on the energy flow of each person, you know, how outgoing they are they brash, or, you know, do they outspeak one another, do they basically, you know, be able to like get an understanding of, you know, what kind of energy or personality they have before you hop in or so. Because you know, that way you know how to be able to keep up with a person or so, especially if they're very energetic, or just, you know, they move all over the place with their own words here and there or so. And sometimes it's hard to do because you need some time to be able to digest that in or so. Because you don't know the person from heart, but you want to be able to kind of like want to reach out to them. It's just hard to do when they're like, that aura around them or so, where basically you're just trying to like feel that in, get an idea of what they are before you hop in there, just so you know what you're dealing with or so. Sometimes it takes time on hand for that.
You gotta size them up.
Yeah, sometimes it takes time on hand. Other times there are people that basically, they don't give that much out or so, where you can easily just talk to them, have a casual conversation. You could just feel like a nice chill vibe from them, like you have. Like, trust me, when I met you or so, through Creepypasta or anything, I always noticed that basically, like, I could tell right off the back, you give off like a very laid-back vibe on hand. When, like, as I'm listening or just kind of like they're listening to conversations on hand, basically, there's like different, like energies here and there or so, but anytime we have a conversation, you're like, just kind of like very laid back or so. Like, it doesn't feel like anything I need to, like, stand on like some sort of equal balance on it, or basically kind of like listen very closely, because you want to, it's not a matter of good impression. You just want to make sure you're not like fumbling over your own words here and there or so. And it's just a matter of like filling things out for the most part. That's how I am with certain things on hand. I'm pretty sure that's how with everybody else on hand, they're like that too. Just trying to fill a lot of stuff out for where they are.
Yeah. I don't know. I think other people can observe you better than yourself, but yeah, I like to say I'm laid back, but I know there's other times. I think it's really just depending on the company that I'm with. It's about how much energy I'm able to put out, because there's definitely some times where, or there's a joke that kind of starts up and it's just feeding off each other until you're just both making monkey noises in some random bar world.
Or it's just kind of like, you and your friends are basically like, it's past midnight, you're all tired, and for some reason you're all making penis jokes. Just because it's past that hour.
Well, that's all the time.
That's all the time, yeah.
Yeah, that's all the time. I don't you mean past midnight.
What? Oh, good heavens, look at the time. It's penis joke o'clock time right now.
Oh, would you look at the hands? They're penises.
Yeah, they're penises. Yeah, there you go. What a weird watch somebody wear. Imagine just seeing that in public. It's like someone pulls out like a Rolex.
Oh, I'm sure it exists. I'm sure it exists somewhere in the world.
It has to exist somewhere in this world. So, God. But let me go on to about like Horrorcon and horror genre. Now, understand, I'm not much of a horror fan on hand. I may have seen like a couple movies here and there, but when it comes to like dark, intense horror, or basically like kind of like, I'm mostly affected by the atmosphere more than like the jump scares or basically storytelling of it. Like, trust me, when you have atmospheres and it sinks in, that's when you get the most scared, because sound messes with you more than like sight, for me personally. But
atmosphere is definitely one of the biggest and most important parts of setting up any sort of scene, no matter the medium that you're viewing it in. And that's not just strictly adherent to horror.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is something that, especially nowadays, a lot of movies do not build up, not very well at least. It's just, ooh, spooky jump scare, ooh, monster at like 10 minutes in the movie. It's not trying to build the atmosphere of horror. It's more so, this is a haunted house, boo, I got you, thanks for the money, be sure to get some popcorn before you leave. And it's just a way to make quick bucks. But if you really look at some of course, probably everyone's favorite example of horror movie is The Thing. Where it's a very slow build. It starts off with a weird event of you have the dog running through the snow, being chased by the helicopter. They touch down, and they're speaking a whole nother language. They're yelling. The Americans come out. They don't know what's going on. Gunfire is traded until, the Norwegians are taken out. And now they're confused, and they're not paying attention to the threat. You as an audience member, you're like, well, that's kind of weird that they were chasing that dog. Why were they doing that? Why, and then you either pay attention to it if you're very keen eye, or if you're just someone just kind of there in the moment, you might forget all about it until a little while later. Until the reveal comes out. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, now that's what's going on. Here's the threat, and the threat presents itself, or it doesn't present itself rather. It hides among us, and it's very good at imitating us.
Yeah.
And so now I have to worry about, you know, who can I trust? Who they say they are.
Yeah. Who they say
And
they
so
are.
that's the atmosphere of the movie. Yeah, that's the atmosphere of the movie. And of course, the isolationism of being in the Antarctic in a frozen wasteland, miles away, and the only way to escape is to get into a helicopter, and you know, there's not one coming for a while. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you're by yourself. You're by yourself. You're trying to stay warm, and just basically just this inside out monster just basically sheds its skin to reveal itself on hand, and dark corners and everything.
That's another you know, the classic trope of the monster picks everyone off one by one, you know, feeding off humans' mentality to stay together in groups. When you watch your group actively being taken down little by little, you know, it kind of drives that fight or flight instinct in you a little bit, you know, and so yeah, that's why it's a classic trope that works.
Yeah, works very well. I mentioned on hand.
Yeah,
no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, just in terms of horror, I really enjoy it. Sometimes, of course, there's the B movies that I think some people either love because they're bad, or people just hate because they're bad. Personally, I love them. They're fun to watch. Some people, I don't know why, they can't turn their brain off and watch a movie, as they put it. I don't believe in that. I believe you should be able to just kind of relax and you know, sometimes go with it.
Yeah.
With any movie, there should be a suspension of suspension of belief. So, you know, just sit back and have fun, really. But
yeah. No, I understand. Like, sitting back and just trying to have fun overall sake with it, but it's also too just being able to like, just being able to like get your money's worth for what you're looking for, like in a horror movie. Not like something cheap, not something that basically everybody goes with the trope of it on hand, like Hollywood does, or you know. Just something that basically gives you a reason to, you know, sink in and feel scared from just looking at it. So, but I was gonna ask too on hand. Let's talk about Horrorcon. Now, originally, last year, Horrorcon, or before it ever had like its own, you know, con event and everything, or so, they decided to go in VRChat and host that for the most part entirely. Now, I never got a chance to be there because I was dealing with my own stuff for the most part, but I assume you got a chance to go there for the most part, visit, or just like
yeah, I helped out with it to a degree. The idea sprung up because there's a lot of conventions for a lot of different things, and sometimes conventions are a horror theme. There's actually a lot more than I thought, but obviously with the City of the World, none of them are going on right now. All of them have been canceled, so yeah. There's a lot of people who want to go to a con, but there's no con to go to, so a couple people got together and spawned this idea of making a con VRChat free to go to, you know, free for everyone to attend, talk to a bunch of people, and kind of got some creators together and just made essentially a con experience, and it's still fun. I went. I had a panel there that was essentially, you know, being a novice sort of, or basically the connection between voice acting and narration, because little secret here, there's a lot of people that start their channel and think that they can just kind of do the middle school reading and monotone voice, and people will tune in. And there's actually, I mean, that might work for some people, but honestly, I know some people kind of break away from that once they get a little more experience, but definitely starting out, they'll make that mistake. But you know, there's a lot of people that talk in monotone or speak in monotone when they read aloud their stories, and it can really kill the entire thing if you're trying to make it consistently, at least make it consistently good. But
yeah, it
was a lot of fun doing that panel and having a booth and just getting together with fellow horror writers, narrators, artists. You know, I just kind of, again, getting to have that con experience, but also still doing general VRChat shenanigans.
Yeah, general VRChat shenanigans, as well as just be able to kind of like connect as a community on hand, to be able to know that there's our people that are rising up that you didn't know about. There are people that basically experience, like veterans that you got a chance to see again or so, all combined together here or so, and which is really nice on hand, just because when you're able to have like that good connection on community together, so it just basically shows that there are a lot of people out there who are willing to work hard just to be able to, like, they start out new, but they get a chance to, over time, as time helps, they begin to experience, learn a little bit underneath the wisdom trees of different other people, and just be able to like make something for themselves. Just a matter of finding.
Oh yeah.
Finding yourself.
It's there's actually quite a few people that every couple of months there'll be like a new sort of influx of newer narrators. The issue is if they're going to stick with it or not.
It's a dedication.
So some of them, yeah, some of them do, and some of them don't. But it's pretty obvious to tell. They'll come in and they'll be invited because the narration community is honestly a very welcoming one. So a lot of them will come together and they'll be, adding the group chats and stuff, and they'll follow everyone and really be introducing and interactive for a while, and then like 2 months later, just kind of falling off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
So, you know, but some of them stick with it, and there's talent there.
Yeah, there's
most
talent.
people. I'll say most people that start. Yeah, I'll say most people that start do have a talent. Some people don't, but I'd say give it some time, work with it, because I know some of my stuff starting out was just god awful. I mean, and honestly, you don't even have to try too hard. Really, it's just about if you can have good delivery on the story, and if you can have clean enough audio, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Some people, honestly. And this is another thing about going back to technology real fast. There's actually been a few people that have gotten their start on their cell phone, using their cell phone to record, and then taking the audio clip to the computer and cleaning it up. So, everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, everybody
just start with an iPhone.
Yeah, everybody starts somewhere. Like, not everybody's gonna have like a head start on hand, where basically everybody's got everybody's not gonna have full body on hand. Those who do are people who basically probably had it for different reasons on hand. Same for everybody's not gonna have like a VR headset on hand, but those who do or will eventually get it. And it's just a matter of like tweaking things little by little or so. And even if you don't know on hand, you feel like you're in a good enough position to be able to do stuff on hand, sometimes there may be something along the way you do notice. Matter of experience on hand. Sometimes you may not know it, somebody might point it out to you when you least expect it, but sometimes it's just that small tweak. Usually a small tweak will make a difference on hand for what you do here and there. And it just helps out overall on hand for wherever you want to go as a creator, So.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's definitely some people that want to try and make this a career or whatever. Me personally, like I said, I'm pretty happy with my job right now, so it doesn't really bother me. This is pretty much has been and always been a hobby that I just enjoy, and I just switched over from reading other people's stuff to reading horror stories, and it's got its own unique series of challenges and payoffs, but I'm happy with it. I've always been a fan of horror. Sort of like the biggest thing, the intro that I use on my videos, which is like the VHS tape starting up, kind of stems back to back when I would spend time with my dad. He was a horror movie fan, so we would always rent the VHS tapes from the store and watch a horror movie. And of course, I don't know, it was just we didn't get a lot of time to bond when I was younger because he had to work a lot, but those are just happier times, and so I feel like it's a very personal touch.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it.
Personal bonding on hand, and just be able to take that in, which is the key thing on hand. Be it from a father figure to a mother figure to your best friends or anything. Just be able to bring that in for the most part. That sticks with you no matter what.
Yeah.
Defines you on hand.
It's a weird thing. A lot of people started calling me dad, so I just went with internet dad. So I've just been the encouraging father on the internet whenever people need it. But I'm down with the memes.
I am down with the new internet memes. So, internet memes on hand.
You kids like the Harlem Shake, right?
Yeah. Oh god. Let me ask this question on hand. Based on when you first started and everything, do you have any old VRC memories that pop in your mind when you think about them? Like anything that sticks out on hand?
Oh, there's several. A lot of them are lost to the unfortunate outcome that comes when you drank a lot on VRChat with your friends. But there's definitely a lot of memories that I remember. There was one where me and a bunch of friends got these avatars. It's a character for Rainbow Six Siege on a moped, and whenever you would move, whenever you would walk forward, it would play Running in the 90s. However, if you moved, depending on how fast you moved, depending on how fast it would play the song. So if you slowly rolled along, it would play this slow version of Running in the 90s, and it was very cursed. And it was fantastic. Especially when, for some odd reason, a bunch of communist lollies joined the world. And it was just a bunch of people playing Running in the 90s while riding around them, telling them why capitalism is better. So it was a wild time.
Good God.
Yeah. Stuff like that's hilarious. Horrorcon was another great memory. I enjoyed. I got the chance to show a couple streamers around the world, and obviously, as a true believer in the haunted house experience, I used every horror avatar I could find and every cheap trick I could to scare them, and that was fantastic. Because I only got to work in a haunted house once when I was a teenager. And I've kind of missed doing that ever since because it was so much fun scaring people. So,
Jesus,
that was fantastic.
Sadly, I never got a chance to go to a haunted house on hand. Maybe one day, but that's a hell of an experience to even have on hand. Jeez. Let me ask you. Okay, let me ask you this. Based on the current president of VRChat, based on when you first started to where you are now, or so, what are some of the things you're glad that they changed up on hand, or some of the things you wish that would have stayed the same for you personally?
I definitely enjoy the there's a lot of stability improvements that they made over time, because I used to crash quite a bit, and then I think just over time they've gotten a lot better. Things have definitely gotten a lot more interesting, because used to it worked for what it was. Of there was a neat world you could go to, and your friends were there, and you guys would kind of, maybe sit around or stand around or whatever, and just kind of talk. And then eventually, people kind of got a lot better at using Unity, and games came out. And so I'm really glad for the progression at which the creation community has come along, because you went from asset ripped housing and stuff like that, with like 8 people could stand around and talk, to fully interactive, like 2-hour long games that you can do and stuff like that. So that's definitely a lot of fun. What are some of the stuff they could have kept? I don't think there's too much that I really cared for that was like, I needed. I kind of enjoyed the old nameplates where you could see who is your friend by the icon.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with the color swap and making them smaller. I kind of wish you could have an option between like the old school nameplates, newer ones, or no nameplate at all. Something like that would have been a little bit better, but again, it's such a minor thing that it doesn't really bother me anyway. Yeah,
I think the reason they kind of changed the nameplates is because that way you don't know what person's rank is what went from a distance or so, unless you kind of like open your menu and just kind of like highlight them to know. Because back then or so, when they did the whole ranking system on hand, everybody basically were up in arms just because that's going to cause like separation and everything.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't believe that was going to happen. I was like, I don't see why I would, you know, not talk to someone, especially if it's a new user. Why are you trying to gatekeep someone who just got a game and to, you know, a social game to socialize? Why would you not socialize with them? That never made sense to me, so I didn't believe that was going to work, and obviously, I don't think it did.
I think it was mostly paranoia on hand. Because understand, too, where when you have a new user coming, because this was during the time where basically public lobbies at a certain moment, like, you know, the certain iconic ones like the Pug and everything were becoming no man's land, where basically, yeah, you can go in there, so, but they recognize you from, like, you know, even if you weren't a streamer or so, or basically they know something about your avatar or so, they could either come up there to try to harass you, or basically, because these are people who just come in there just for, you know, just to get that shock moment in, or so, or basically just try to cause problems for you, even though you haven't done anything to them. I mean, it's kind of like one of those weird gray areas where I know for a fact not everybody in public lobbies are bad people. I know that for sure, and it's just there are certain people you don't know for sure, but the moment that basically when you let your guard down or so, or basically you're afraid that you might get recognized for all the wrong reasons and basically get crashed for no reason, because it's still a dangerous kind of thing. So
I guess I haven't had that issue with crashes or whatever. The safety settings are definitely a big help with that.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, I get what you mean about the sort of people wanted to come in and interact with the streamers and stuff. I'm not a huge like stream watcher or whatever. I sometimes show up to maybe just give someone a follow or a view boost for a second, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow along a lot of streamers. I know a lot of my friends are, and I've been on their streams.
Yeah.
Or I've been in their videos and stuff like that, and yeah, I've had people who have not so much as come up to me on VRChat, but definitely DM'd me and stuff like that, being like, hey, you know so and so, can you get me in touch with them and stuff like that, blah blah. So yeah, I'm very aware and to a degree used to it, but you know, I think no matter what, someone's gonna try and get next to their perceived online idol.
Yeah. I know. It's usually the thing that comes along with it on hand, because I'll let everybody know not every streamer is connected to every streamer on hand. It's not like this giant network tree where basically I can talk to this person and basically it goes all the way up their whole like mafia rank or something. Where
you know what? It reminds me of people who are in the military may know this, where it's like you know, someone finds out and you're like, yeah, I was in the army. They're like, oh yeah, where were you? It's like, oh yeah, I was over here at this time. And they're like, oh, do you know rank so and so? No, it's a big army, dude. I don't know them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically that kind of thing.
So, yeah, that's happened a few times. Where I'm just like, no, I don't know your aunt's neighbor's cousin that was in at a 2-year difference than me. It's like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty much kind of like the anthill, where basically, even if you say you know this, basically people are going to question you in whatever direction it's going to go, and it's going to go down even bigger holes on hand than you realized. You know, trust me, it's a giant network on hand, network of tunnels, where basically people know people. It's just they're not always going to be in that exact same kind of group of people here and there. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean.
There's been a lot of times that I've joined off of friends or whatever, and apparently there's been big names in there, and I'm just not aware of who they are. And it's interesting to say the least. A lot of them are just normal people, obviously. So that's what really kind of gets me, is when someone's like, oh, can you get me in touch with so and so? I love them. It's like, I mean, yeah. Another thing that happens a lot is people who are like, oh, you know this person, what are they like? They're a huge fucking nerd.
I don't know what to tell you.
That's all I can say. I'm sorry. Yeah, like it gets it. Yeah, like I said, they're just a normal person, and I think people forget that. Yeah. Way too easily.
It's kind of the reason why I do watch a few streams, but I don't watch them all the time or so, just because I like to keep that hype level of whoever I'm interacting with, or if I ever see them low. Like, the last time I ever got hyped over somebody, or so when I got a chance to meet him in person in VR chat, was like 2018 when I got a chance to meet DirectWiz. By random accident on hand, I met him, and I knew him from based on YouTube videos and such. And after that or so, I kind of like I realized, okay, they're all human beings. Just kind of keep that whole starstruck thing low on hand, because that way you can have normal conversations on hand. You don't feel giddy, you don't feel anxiety.
You can be fans of someone, but you know, at the end of the day, you still need to treat them like a person, not as, you know, their online entity that they're doing. They're, you know, because usually if you're playing games with them, or getting a chance to talk to them, you know, this is their personal time to relax and not put in the effort to be entertaining. More or less. Yeah,
definitely, and just kind of like make sure not to like treat them like they're on a pedestal or anything like that. Like I said, they're just all normal. They're all normal people, or so. Like no matter what, no matter personality wise, or basically like whatever kind of character they're playing or so, they're all normal people, no matter which way or form. So, but anything you looking forward towards for the most part? Like, but we actually talked about that on hand with the whole VR chat and basically technology and everything in general earlier on. So that kind of covered it. Kind of covered that for the most part. Okay, I'm gonna throw a curveball your way, because I don't think you're that kind of person who actually watches a lot on hand, who might not watch too much on hand since you're busy here and there. But let's talk about anime.
Okay, the devil's animation. Let's do it.
Okay, devil's animation. I'm glad you didn't say devil man. Jeez, going down that dark route. But first anime that comes to your...
It depends on which one.
So it's a 3-part question, but basically, first anime that comes to your mind when I say the word anime.
Mostly shonen, because again, that was what was just kind of popular early on. Dragon Ball, One Piece. I never really got too much into One Piece. I kind of the art style I just couldn't fall in love with, and so now like I honestly don't remember too much other than what's like the first. Whatever, I think 4Kids was actually the first to have it.
Yeah, over here in North America, it was the first to have it, which actually that's how I got exposed to One Piece. Was for 4Kids.
Yes, yeah, the 4Kids. I remember the intro though, the rap intro.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, just going like, man, what the fuck is this? It was wild, dude. I was like, this is such a tonal shift. I'm not gonna lie, but there was that. Obviously, you've got Pokemon, stuff like that. There's a couple other stuff that came along. Yu Yu Hakusho was one I watched before. Outlaw Star. Obviously Cowboy Bebop. I think everyone's seen that one too.
Yeah, definitely. It's iconic.
Now obviously big favorite, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Recently I sat down people in my Discord server and very, very much as the CIA would, made them watch all first three parts of JoJo with me. No escape every Saturday. Yeah, mandatory JoJo watching.
Mandatory. Meet in the lobby. We're gonna get down to info business right now.
You people aren't leaving until you understand the memes I post in this server.
Yeah, definitely on hand. So
it was great.
Yeah, that's usually the great times on hand. Just be able to spend time with your community and just be able to do all that in general. So, but let me ask you.
I'm glad you named it.
What?
I'm glad you said spend time and not forcibly endure.
I mean, hey, it's always a good time to be able to spend time wherever you can, because I know life gets busy, or basically when you're creating something, it gets busy on hand where you don't have enough time to be able to sit down for certain days, or like community nights here and there.
Oh yeah.
I know the feeling all too well. Potatoes on hand. So, you mentioned, okay, my next question was going to be your favorite series on hand, but you already mentioned kind of those on hand for the most part, here and there, especially some of the ones you watched here and there. The last question to that is basically, what is the anime that kind of hit you close to home?
I'm trying to think. There's definitely been moments that I just feel like, man, it's like I said, on the spot, it's hard to think of one. But there's definitely moments like if you want to go full grimdark, like in Berserk when everything goes wrong. I think that was super powerful moment. And again, when you really just look at the series, even just from the very start, it you know, it is not a light, happy world to be in. I believe fully it's a grim, dark fantasy world, and it's awful.
It's a very gray world.
Yeah. But stuff like that. Then, of course, you've got other things like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to remember something from Gundam, because I used to love watching Gundam, but I can't think of, like, a specific moment right off the hand. I really just remember the fights, and that's kind of the same with Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball, I don't remember pretty much anything from, but like the specific, like, arcs and fights, and that's really what I've come to fall in love with, was just, like, the really over-the-top fights.
And the narration to it, where basically it'd be like,
oh yeah,
it's one fight, but for some reason it goes on for 6 to 7 episodes.
On the last episode, not much happened.
Not much happened. Find out next time.
We had them exchange a few punches, so you can't say it's filler. So, yeah, stuff like that. I guess another good one is the more recent one that I think a lot of people connect with is My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
It's definitely got some strong moments in it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone loves a good underdog story, and most shonen are, so.
Yeah. Everybody wants to relate to the person who wants to basically grow and become the thing they want to become, you know?
Yeah, chasing your dreams and achieving them to a degree.
Yeah, whether you're Naruto and want to become Hokage, or whether you want to basically become a hero of your own desire here and there. What you want to envision yourself as. You know, you want to work hard for it.
That was another one that I actually never watched, was Naruto all that much. I tried watching a little bit, but I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it was like part of like the whole Toonami thing on like Cartoon Network at one point. That's how I got exposed to it. And then basically it just kind of like went off whatever direction it is now. I don't keep up with it since I'm usually busy here and there. But yeah, this kind of leads down to the last question entirely. As you can see, I have this camera right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up. I'm going to give you the center floor here. And what I want to ask you is this. What are your goals and dreams? And at best, what is the best advice you can ever give to anybody else? I'm going to back up. I'll let you basically take center floor if you want to get close to it. And,
You give me a second. Let me find my drink.
No, go ahead.
Fast.
Now you're good. Take your time. I'll back up for you.
Okay. In terms of hopes and dreams, you know, I feel like it's more or less shifting a lot, but I think the main goal is just finding a life that I'm satisfied with, and that, you know, I'm not upset when I wake up in the morning, or downtrodden when I go to bed at night that I have to get up the next day and start all over again. You know, I don't think anyone wants to be caught in a cycle that they don't enjoy. But personally, that's a big nightmare. I guess, you know, to make it super simplistic, is the goal is just to be happy and find a life that, you know, works for me. It's, you know, I don't have a lot of higher goals and stuff. All the stuff in life that I've mainly wanted to do, I've just about done. So, you know, I've led a pretty full life. So now, really, it's just about finding a life that I can enjoy until the end. The biggest sort of best advice I guess I can give is, you know, find things that work for you. Dreams are sometimes changing quite a bit, and you have to adapt. I don't think you ever really stop growing as a person, and I think what you need to do is every so often really just evaluate yourself and what you really want, but never stop wanting something that's better for yourself. Obviously, to a degree, you have to find some homeostasis of happiness, but never be fully satisfied with something that you know you can get better. Always try and do better by yourself and those around you. I think that's probably the best advice I can give.
I got you on hand. So, last but not least, I will ask this to everybody else in chat. Does anybody have any questions for Maskino here? I do have one that popped on my head or so. That's basically, why do you wear the mask?
That's a good question. It's because, that's a good question.
the answer to it is yes.
Yeah, no, everyone asks me that, and I think so far I've given everyone a different answer, but realistically, it's just like, I think masks are cool.
I mean, that's true. I mean, it creates the mysteriousness behind it, basically, on who that person is that's talking to you, but you do know for a fact that, actually, in a weird way or so, it actually has, like, an interesting underlying meaning to it. Because keep in mind, wearing a mask over the internet or so, kind of has some sort of meaning to it behind as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we want to break it down into some sort of semblance of meaning, I've always been someone who enjoys their privacy and anonymity online. So obviously back when all the like FCC junk was coming up and all these people that want to dox and stuff like that, I don't agree with. I think you should be allowed to have this persona that's online, and obviously you're gonna have some people that are just vile and nasty and stuff, but to a degree the biggest thing is that the mask can stay online and be its whole own thing, but I could always just shut the computer down and walk off and go from Maskino back to who I am in the real world.
Who you are in the real world.
Yeah, if I it's not the first time. Like I said, I've been on the internet for a while. I've had other names and done plenty of other sort of ventures in content creation and other stuff like that. And when I get bored with it, usually I kind of just let it go. And yeah.
No, I got you.
Like I said, it's something you can just leave behind, and if you ever want to come back, you can make a whole new one and start over. And people in a way identify with it as a symbol and more so than as a person, because obviously your personality is what's going to sell it, but it's more recognizable to have it as the visual aspect, like sort of the first handshake or first impression with someone.
Definitely on hand. Okay, well, I got a question from Aloan here. Basically, how did you get your character name and style?
The name, honestly, I was trying to think like a interesting name that was like easy to remember. And this one just kind of came to mind. When I tried creating my Twitter account, I found out that actually there's like one man whose name is actually this. He's like a Filipino businessman who I am pretty sure is no longer with us, because he made like 2 tweets and then has not tweeted since like 2009. So, that's why I had to add like the YouTube at the end of my name. I couldn't just have just Maskino. But other than that, no, I haven't seen anyone else with it, and there's not really a meaning behind it. I don't think it stands for anything other than maybe that dude's last name. So,
No, I just realized. You know what's funny? Your name rhymes with one other word. That's being tuxedo. And since you're wearing a suit right now or so, it's like it all comes full circle in some form or fashion. Or fashion, get it? Give or take.
I just like the suit.
Yep, just like the suit. Like the suit on him.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly when I like actually dress, is sort of like the very laid back like t-shirt or hoodie or something, like very kind of like baggy clothes, jeans, stuff like that. So my actual sort of attire normally is very very relaxed and unassuming. But yeah, I've always enjoyed the suit. Like, to be honest, even though looking at it, like there's this suit, but the sort of mainstay character that's usually got the red sort of suit jacket. I don't know how it came about, but if you look at it, I'm really just wearing a suit jacket and a black t-shirt and some black pants on my character for the most part. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember if that was something that the artists that I commissioned did, or I had told them, because this has been some years now. But yeah, it just sort of ended up being like that. So it's like, oh man, I can never go outside dressed like this. I look, realistically, if I wore this, people would be like, oh man, it looks like a hobo that found a nice jacket.
Good lord.
So, yeah.
But it'd be also interesting on the fact too. It'd be like, you know, like normally, realistically, you would never go out and everything full black on hand, like in normal weathers or so on hand.
Not really.
Yeah, because of, you know, you well, first you get a heat stroke, and number two or so, it's just kind of like sure, you'll stand out in a crowd, but you're pretty much just gonna feel miserable the moment you get back home trying to get all that off and everything. So, but
well, I mean, yeah, I think fashion's one of those things that's very individual. A lot of people will go to extreme lengths for looking how they want to look. So.
Yeah, live the game.
I mean, I want to put in as little effort as possible. Like, you know, I have a beard that I trim, and I wash my clothes and my hair, and that's my fashion sense. Is I'm clean and I've got a T-shirt with a video game on it. That's it. That's
it on it. I got you. Okay, one last question. That being, what is your character based off of? Is it based off of anything for you personally, or like anything that kind of like personifies itself?
No, it's all its own thing.
Its own thing?
I sort of like was just doodling one time, and I ended up doodling a couple neat masks. I do sometimes kind of just play around with different mask ideas, but I came up with this one, and it was like super simple, and I don't know, it just stuck with me. So
well, there you go.
It worked out. So yeah, and then like I said, it's one of those things. I think a lot of people, when they're trying to come up with something, will put a lot of effort and thought and try to add a lot of stuff. But again, it's usually, if you just go the simple route, it'll stand out a lot more to you in some weird way.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes the most simplest things in the world can actually stand out. Like, even if you're an Iron Man with a mustache, glasses, and top hat, small things will make it stand out, no matter what. Kind of like that simpleness of it. So, with that in mind, that will be episode 29 of Shoot the Breeze.